Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into the last cast on Earth. This episode was actually recorded months ago. I thought I lost the footage that we did for this. Turns out I ended up finding it when I was sorting through some other things. In this episode, we talked to one of the most brilliant minds in Last Day on Earth, Sniperace. He is a Last Day on Earth partner through Kefir. He streams on Twitch and he makes some YouTube videos as well. Uh, we brought Sniperace in to talk about the rating system because of his knowledge and his ability to really think things through all the way. He does a great job teaching on his channel and he experiments a lot. So there's a lot of learning that happens. So if you're not following Sniperace and tuning in to his Twitch channel, we will have links in the description of this video or audio, depending on how you're listening to it. So make sure that you check him out on Twitch. And I hope you enjoy this podcast where we talk about the rating system of Last Day on Earth. All right. Hello and welcome everybody to the last cast on Earth. I am the Rukus. Unfortunately today, Manders is not going to be joining us. She is on double mommy duty today, making sure that everything is all right at home. Manders, thank you for at least being in the chat, making sure that our people behave. Joining us today is another Last Day on Earth partner and streamer, Sniperace. Sniperace, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Hanging in there, just trying to get some farm in.
Right? So you had a little trouble with the traffic today, huh?
Oh yeah, there's like a 6-car accident on the way home. It was a mess.
Nice, nice. All right, so let's do a quick Q&A with the Sniperace. So when you were growing up, Sniperace, what was your favorite childhood game?
Growing up, my favorite childhood game, I'd
Yeah.
probably say it was Sonic.
Sonic. So you were a Sega guy.
Oh yeah, my dad, since I was an only child back then, my dad literally had me the Atari, the N64, Sega, like all the good stuff.
Oh, nice, nice. All right. I was more of a Nintendo guy, but yeah, probably my favorite, my absolute favorite game when I was growing up was the like the number crunchers. I couldn't think of the name of it until right now. For whatever reason, number crunchers was just like my favorite thing. And I know it was supposed to be just an educational game, but
Yeah,
man, number crunchers was like my jam, 100%.
I can see it.
All
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot of games, a lot of educational games that could really get you into it.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. So maybe that's why I'm like the big nerd that I am now. I don't know. All right, so how did you get started in like gaming and creating content on Twitch?
Well, actually, I started off on a smaller platform that it doesn't have for streaming anymore. It's more of like a Vine. It was called Camcord. That's where I kind of started to stream, but it was kind of like like for fun.
Huh.
Just get home from school, stream on a laptop, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale,
Oh,
and
nice.
what's it called? And then from there, it just kind of like it just hit the road.
Yeah, nice. You said it was like Vine, so it was like 15 like that kind of like 15
No,
second like
that's what it is now. Like it's just like a 15-second
oh.
video platform now. Before it used to be a streaming platform, but now
Oh,
it's kind
okay.
of just like a 15-second video platform.
I remember when Vine, I was like, it was my goal. Like when Vine was hot, I was like, I'm gonna be Vine famous. I was like making all these just like ridiculous, stupid vines. Uh, all right. So, what are your ultimate goals as a content creator?
I mean, honestly, I've never really thought about it. I mean, I've had questions like from people in the stream just ask me like, oh, like, do you plan on doing this full time? And I'm just
Hmm.
like, I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, of course. But I mean, I kind of just do it for fun and to like get some more information out there.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah, kind of the same for me. Like and I get so uncomfortable answering questions like when people are like, "How much money do you make from streaming?" and like, "Is this your full-time job?" I'm like, "Eh." Which honestly for me right now, like I treat it like a full-time job because, I don't really have a full-time job at the moment, but hopefully that's going to change very soon.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so everybody, today we are going to be talking all about rating. So if you have any questions that you want answered, make sure that you send those to us in the Discord. Manders is all over that command. Just click on that link. It'll take you directly to the channel where you can post questions. And I can see we already have one from Siava, or three from Siava, actually. So we'll be getting to those questions at the end of the podcast. So I want to start off talking about rating. We'll start off with a fun one. So Sniperace, what has been your worst raid that you've had so far in Last Day on Earth?
I don't remember the name, but I had to use one C4,
Mm.
and I got literally 2 chests. The best thing I got was probably a full cleaver and a bunch of grass.
Right. Well, hate to say it, but I got you beat because it was similar. And there was a day, I think I had 3 of these bases, like back to back to back. So they were all like stone bases, and they would be huge. And so you needed C4. One of them had 3 small chests, and the other 2, I think one of them had 2 and one of them had 1. So it was like and yeah, exactly, like what was in the chest. It was like maybe there was like an electronic circuit in there, but it would be like half stacks of resources that I don't need. And it's like come on, like what, like why is this a thing? Why is this in the raid rotation, But we'll be getting more into that stuff later as we go on. So let's talk about, so generally, like if you could sum it up shortly, what would you say makes a good raid?
Well, I mean, a good raid would generally be anything from having at least a minimum of 3 guns. 2 is fine, but minimum of 3 guns and some crafting materials, because crafting materials you can never go wrong. Mainly iron and planks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, it just kind of depends. Because if let's say I do like 3 raids in a day, if one of those raids is like has a ton of resources, I don't want my other 2 to also have a ton of resources. So I do, because I love resource raids because it saves me so much time from going out and farming. And it's not really something that you want to do on stream because it's kind of boring. It's not good content, at least in my opinion. Uh,
Yeah.
but so yeah, so if I get one good resource raid, but other than that, yeah, I would say, if it's got guns, if it's got steel, if it's got med kits or turkeys, like those are all things that I'm like, yes, like this is gonna be good.
True, true, true.
All right, so let's get into. So I broke down just like sort of a list of different scenarios, because not all bases are created equal.
Yeah.
So what I've done is, because I've had all of these different bases before. So if we have a base where you don't need anything. So if and by anything I mean there's no walls, or maybe there's level 1 walls, so you're not having to break through a lot. You're not using a lot of resources to get into the base. What would be like? Is there? So basically, what we're trying to figure out is there a base that you could look at and be like, no, this isn't worth my time, or no, I wouldn't invest these resources to get into it. So if there's a base that is like either completely wide open or just has level 1 walls, what would be like the minimum threshold for you to say I want to get into that base?
I mean, honestly, I usually try to at least do a little bit of research on the base to see if maybe anybody has encountered the base before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, going in blind, it's a 50-50 going in blind. You
Mm-hmm.
could go in there and have all your material, like you have hatchets ready, you have C4 ready just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And if you end up not even using half of that or all of it, then you're gonna be running out of space. You have to leave some hatchets. You're gonna run out of space because you're obviously not gonna leave a C4 behind.
Right.
So it's really tricky when it comes to raids.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I'm the same. I research every base before I go into it. So 100% I'm right there on that. So I'm right there with you. Um, but yeah, I think there was one base that I saw that it was completely wide open, that I didn't go into because or that I didn't really waste my time with, because it was the same. It was just a couple of couple small boxes, and like not really anything that I needed. So it was a base I just go make some noise and then just leave. So it resets.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what's the minimum that you would need to rate a base if it has, or if you need like a few iron hatchets?
Like, do you get in return?
So you're investing like 3 iron hatchets to break down walls. So what would you want to get out of a raid, where you had to invest that?
I'd probably say, dang, dude. Because I mean, I've had well, actually, no, I can't lie. I've had a bunch where I had to use like 5 hatchets, and I only get like a half broken gun,
uh,
and well, half durability gun, and then like maybe some incomplete iron, some incomplete planks, like
wow.
one oak, um, some crowbars have durability, so it's kind of like, I mean, at least I'd expect a full durability gun at least.
Yeah.
Um, a little bit of extra iron, some wood, because I mean, I had a base. People saw it on stream where I got there. I needed to use one C4, and I got one chest. And then
Yeah.
I opened through a level 2 wall, and I got an extra 2 chests, but it only had like only one of them was full. The other one was empty, completely
What?
empty.
That's nonsense.
And so I mean, I don't know. Like, it's been a while since they've updated the rating.
Yeah, no, it has, and that's something else that we're going to be talking about. So hopefully that gets done soon. Uh, yeah, I would say, yep, similar for me, but maybe, um, like if I'm just investing iron hatchets, I would expect for it to at least be a good resource raid.
Yeah,
So, and if there's guns in there, that's even better. But at minimum, I'd want it to be a good resource raid. Okay, now let's get into the big stuff. If it requires one C4, what's the minimum that you would say this base is worth one C4?
oof. Guns, minimum guns.
Yeah.
If you can't expect at least some resources from it, at least a gun, to maybe a little bit of gas,
Oh yeah,
electronic
gas.
circuit, like, at least. Because
Yeah.
that's, I mean, it's a C4, dude. Like, it's fairly hard to get a C4.
Yeah, that's same for me. I want to get at least a couple guns, maybe like some or like a couple good stacks of something, and then some good resources on top of that. All right, next 2C4. What would it take for you to be like, I'm gonna invest 2C4 into this base?
Oof.
Yep.
Even more guns. Because I mean, I had a raid last time, 2C4. I got one gun.
Ooh, ouch. Like anything else like medkits or
Yeah, a couple medkits would be fine. Because I mean, I had some raids where I got used 2C4 and then 2 hatchets, and I got like maybe 100 medkits at
ooh,
least,
that's
and a
nice.
little bit of armor, like 2 tactical armors.
Oh yeah, that's very nice.
So I mean, that sounds like a pretty fair exchange, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So 2C4, it's really gonna depend on what I need, but I would like the two things that I need the most if I'm gonna invest 2C4. I'm gonna need either one or both of these. Like minimum, I would say like 4 to 5 guns and steel. So if it's both of those, then yeah, I'll invest 2C4 into that every time. If
Yeah.
it's one of those, so I can get 5 guns, but then maybe like 100 med kits, or something like a couple, like bunch of like turkey or meat or something like that, then I would consider that as well. All right.
Yeah, of course.
So what about 3C4?
I mean, I haven't used 3C4 except for one base where I got about 28 Glocks and
Holy
a
nice.
Scar, a VSS, a flare gun, a shotgun, and a minigun.
Wow. That's yeah, no,
That's
that
the only time I've used 3C4.
I no, and that's I would totally use 3C4 for that. I would need and we're talking it's got to be a nice Glock raid where we're talking like 20 or so Glocks plus med kits plus armor plus like everything like
The whole 9 yards.
yeah, no, it's for 3C4, yeah. You better really bring it. Okay. Now the coup de grace. Would you ever do a base that requires 4C4?
Honestly, probably not. And I'll tell you why. Because a year ago, well, actually, when raiding was first introduced about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's when like you were leveling up the raiders. I had a base. I'm pretty sure it's probably already been taken out of cycle because I want to say it was a hacker base. I had to use 4C4.
Good
Um,
lord.
I remember somebody had told me that you could use 5C4 for extra weapons, but it wasn't necessary because it was only like 3 weapons, and I
Oh.
think it was 2 scars and a VSS. And other than that, I mean, with 4 you were fine. You would get like guns, you would get med kits, you would get armor. Um, I think he had 100 med kits, and that's
Nice.
that's when like the big one was actually you were able to actually kill the big one.
Oh. Dude, nice.
Because that was way back. Like that's when it was first introduced. But then obviously, I think it was bugged because like you would get him low, um, he would he would disappear. Like I don't know what it was, but he would disappear, and then he would come back full health. So like essentially, you only had a couple seconds to jump back in, and do what you
Oh.
needed to do.
Huh. Yeah, versus now you get him to
Oh yeah,
200 and then he's like, surprise!
but not even that. Like now like the damage multiplies. The more
And,
he hits you, it
yep.
multiplies.
Yep.
Or if you let him hit the wall, he'll eventually one shot you.
Oh, yeah. And I think somebody told me in my Discord they were they were wall tricking the big boy, and I guess he was like kiting him along this wall. So he was like smacking the wall, and he was doing it for a while, and then ran past a window and got one shot through the window.
Oh no, yeah, that's that. Even I mean, that happened to me one time too. I took too long. I let him hit the wall for too long. I
Hmm.
walked out. I had full durability SWAT armor, brand new SWAT armor, ready to spam heals, and I got one hit.
No, yep, yeah, it doesn't
And I
matter.
was like, yeah, I was like, as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not going back for that stuff. I'm losing that stuff because there's no way I can get back. I mean, I got one hit with SWAT armor. There's no way I'm gonna survive any other way.
Yeah,
And this was before the Kevlar.
but I was gonna say even if you use Kevlar, like he's still probably gonna one shot you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so there's one base where I almost considered using 4C4. And this was recently. It's the Bob Grom base because if you use 4C4, there's one box where you can basically like do like the kite the big one like where he has to run like all the way around and then you go to the other side of the box and he has to go all the way back.
Huh.
But after I did more research on it, I realized that I could, if I'm using the fish buff, I would only need to use 3C4. And on the last box that I need to open, that would spawn them. I knew exactly what I wanted to take, and then I activate sprint and I get the heck out.
Yeah.
So, but that was the only time I've considered using 4C4, and I haven't come across another
Gotcha.
base where I'm like I've wanted to do it again. All right, so
Gotcha.
So we started a new segment on not in the last episode called "Come with a Solution," where we could sit and we could complain about everything that's wrong with the game forever, but it's better to come with a solution. So we're not just sitting around and being like, "Well, this sucks and this sucks." So we're gonna try to come with a solution. So Sniperace, in your opinion, what is wrong with the rating system, how it is right now, and how would you fix it?
The biggest issue with rating right now is I'd have to say probably part of it has to do with a task.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part has to do with the actual bases that are available to be rated.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is like when you do a whole set of quests for the raiders,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter if it's like extremely difficult. It takes you like a week to complete for X reason. You're not guaranteed a good base.
That's true.
It's just completely random. There's no way to even like I guess you could. There's no way to work around it. Like the bases are predetermined. I feel like the bases are predetermined as soon as you get the task. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like even if you get the same task repeatedly, it's gonna be a different base.
Right.
And there's still a lot of bases that need to be removed.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've got I've got videos of bases where I'm like, I don't even want to post this to YouTube because it's crap. But yeah, so I agree with that. There are some bases that need to be removed. One thing that I have a few things. So number one, and maybe the simplest thing that Kefir could do would be to make the raider tasks trackable. Like we can, the weekly and the daily tasks for the seasons, we can track those. We can hit a button and see what my tasks are, where my progress is, and things like that. We need the same thing for raider tasks because when you're out, opening 25 chests in red zones or killing 15 toxic abominations, or even if you're clearing a floor in the bunker, and then you go back to check on your other tasks and it says you didn't complete that floor in the bunker because you forgot a room or something like that. Now you have to go all the way back. So making the task trackable would be huge and probably the most simple thing that they could do to improve the rating system outside of removing the bases that have one friggin' box. Another thing would be to have the reputation mean something, because I don't think the reputation means anything. Do you?
Well, at first it did. Like when you were first building up the reputation, it actually meant something, because the more reputation you got with them, the better the bases you would get. Once you actually max out your reputation at 200, I believe it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's just completely random.
Yeah.
Like
So
that's one thing where they messed up a little. I feel like, um, the after we max out the reputation, it honestly doesn't even matter.
yeah, and I agree. So I think because they have a system of what items have what point values. So
Yeah.
I think what they should do is use that and say, the more reputation you have, the highest potential of stuff that you can take from a base. So if you have 10 reputation, yeah, you're going to get crap bases with a couple of boxes and whatever. But when you get, 100, that puts you at a new threshold. When you max out at 200, then you're getting the bases that have the most guns, the most med kits, the most armor, all of the good stuff. Steel, all of that stuff that, you're going to want from a base. So I think if they had the reputation tie into, the highest potential that you can take from a base, I think that would be absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And then, so this one's maybe a little far-fetched, but I would like to see where, like, if you're rating a base, that instead of it being just like a copy of the base, have it to where it's like an actual player's base, and like their dogs are like helping defend the base and everything. Like, could you imagine raiding a base and you get 3 corgis and sweaters running at you,
Oh
and
no.
you're like, no, like, what do I do?
Yeah, I feel like they wouldn't do that. Do you really have the heart to take out a dog? Like even
No.
if it's a dog.
What if they could make it to where it's like rabid or something, like rabid corgi attack, you know.
You're right, and maybe you could take like steak or something.
Oh, dude,
Buy
yeah.
them out.
So instead of killing the dogs, you give them treats, and then they turn on their owner. I don't know.
They lead you to, if depending on how good the treat is, they lead you to a certain chest that's good or bad.
Right? Like, here's a piece of turkey, and they're like, oh, speaking of turkey, I know where there's tons of it.
Yeah, right.
So that one, so I joke about that one a little bit, but like, I don't know. I just thought, kind of I don't know. I'm just dumb sometimes.
It's a good idea. I can see it.
All right. So moving on, I want to talk about, because there's been a lot of talk, at least in my channel, about what constitutes as cheating or exploiting or whatever. So I want to talk about the box tricking and death tricking. So do you think that either one of these is cheating in the game? Would you consider it something that's not fair or cheating?
Not necessarily, because I mean, if you think about it, like if it was really that big of an issue, the devs would have already done something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, as long as it's not game breaking, they've said this before. If the devs have said this before, as long as it's not game breaking, it's not an issue. As soon as it's game breaking and you're like the floppy disk exploit they did, like if you're breaking the game essentially, then it's gonna be stopped.
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if death tricking, it's not really. I wouldn't really see it as a glitch and or cheating, because I mean, essentially, it could happen even if you're unintentionally doing it.
That is true.
Because I mean, otherwise, they would have said something. Like, I mean, I guess kind of like the wall trick. People say that one's cheating and stuff like that, but I mean, if it was, then they wouldn't have shown it in a video how to survive.
Exactly, and I agree. I see box tricking on almost the exact same level as wall tricking, because number one, it's not just something that you can do. Like, you have to practice at it, you have to set it up, and if you mess up, you could die from it. If you don't do it properly. So there's a certain amount of skill and knowledge that you have to be able to set up a box trick. Number one. And then death trick is more of a gamble, honestly, because you get to die one time in a base.
Yep.
So if you do that intentionally, then that's fine, but your safety net is gone. If you die again, then you lose everything else. So whether it's an accident or whatever the reason, like that one death is your safety net, and you're saying, I'm gonna give this up at a chance to get 8 more stacks, potentially 8 more stacks of something from this base. So there's a risk factor involved. So by doing it, you're giving up your safety net. So I'm perfectly fine with both of those.
I mean, think about it like this: if it was cheating and or glitching in the game, then you wouldn't be getting hit.
Yeah, exactly.
For the box tricking, like, you wouldn't get hit if it was cheating or glitching or game. You wouldn't get hit, and obviously they would take it out like that if you were not able to get hit.
Yeah,
if you're able to get hit. You have to have a ranged weapon to not get hit. So you have to think about what you bring to a raid.
Yeah, and that's where the knowledge aspect comes in. Of you have to know how to do it and how to set it up. And also, like you were saying with the box trick, the game breaking part of it comes in where you cannot do that with the big boy, because once he spawns, if he can't get to you, he's just going to teleport to you and smack you in the face. So they realized that, so they said, okay, so instead of him just like standing around like a goofball, we're going to put him right on top of you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
that's where it also gets dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. So they know that that's a thing that people do, and they say, okay, that's fine up to a certain point, and then once you get to that point, which that point is 100 noise, and the big boy, that's when it's not okay anymore. That's when he's gonna run at you, smack you in the face. So clearly, like in my opinion, both of those are absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've asked this. I don't know if you saw this question in the partner chat, but I asked a question because I honestly got confused. And I'll explain what I mean after I ask the question. And I want to see what people in the chat think about this also. So when you complete a raid and you come back and the raiders are there and they're expecting their cut, do the raiders want a percentage of what you take, a percentage of what you could have taken from the base, or something else? And the reason I'm asking this question is because I have gone, like I've looked up a base or multiple bases that I had to raid, and it's the same thing, a C4 for one box with some crap in it. And I'm like, nope, I don't want this. So I go and I dig in the garden, pick up some carrots, and keep in mind when I go, because I wanted to test this, I went completely naked. I didn't take my chopper, no backpack, no weapons, no food or water. I took absolutely nothing. Just me and my naked self ran to this base, dug in the garden, picked out like some carrots, and then I go back. So like the raid is over, the raiders are back, they want their cut, and I give them everything that I took, which is like, say 10 carrots, and they're like, nope, this isn't good enough, we're gonna attack your base, basically.
Wow.
So with that in mind, I was like, okay, so like I'm literally giving them everything that I took, so it can't be a percentage. Yeah. But I also disagree with it's a percentage of what you do take, because if you come back with a bunch of guns versus if you come back with a bunch of resources, they want different stuff. Or they want a different amount of the cut. So I don't particularly agree with that it's a percentage of what you take either. So, or I don't agree with that it's a percentage of what you could have taken. Because I think if you put the good stuff in your chopper, you're getting ahead of the system a little bit. So my opinion on this is that it's, and again, I have no proof of this. This is just a theory. I think every time you do a raid, they have a set minimum of this is what you have to give us, like a set number that you have to reach, and then on top of that, it's a percentage of what you bring back with you. And maybe that initial number is different based on the base and what you potentially could take. So maybe it's a percentage. So maybe it's both. Maybe it's a percentage of what you could take plus a percentage of what you actually did take. That is my 100% theory. So what do you think? And I'm looking at the chat. Some people are saying what you could have taken. Some people are saying both. So Sniperace, what do you think?
Honestly, I kind of have to agree with what you just said. Like, it's mostly what you what you already have, like of what you have. I mean, honestly, I've gotten to the point where, I mean, I'm a hoarder. I'm a big hoarder. Like, if people have stopped by my stream, they see that I have a ton of everything.
Right. Yeah.
So I've gotten to the point where I can give them wires, electronic circuits, aluminum wires, and like good stuff, but not a lot of it, obviously.
Yeah.
I think the most, because I mean, even last time I got the full gun raid, that full gun raid with the 28 Glocks. I gave them 3 of the aluminum wires, and they were okay with it.
Oh wow!
And it just shocked me completely, because I had like 20 something Glocks in my inventory. And then I had an extra 8 plus the extra 8 that I had already brought beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what, it kind of confuses you to a certain point where you're like, you even start doubting the same answer that you gave initially. Like,
yeah.
So is it of what you have or what you could have taken?
I 100% agree. So that's why I think it's like a weird, like, combination of both. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just like, I mean, like it's a little tricky sometimes, but I mean, I'm kind of just glad that I just hoard just about everything. And because I mean, like I said, I have electronic circuits to spare. I have about 100 plus a couple extra.
So
because
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I just got like a weird idea. The next time I get a base that I don't want to raid, like I don't want to use the C4, I'm gonna load up my entire inventory with guns and steel and stuff like that, and then go make noise, and then come back and see how much they want.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, because I mean, I think they take in like the steel plates, aluminum plates, iron plates. They hold those to really high. Like they worship those.
yeah, so we actually have. Let me see if I can bring this up. Not that picture, but let's see. So Manders found on the wiki. So for those of you guys watching this, she found on the wiki where they have a rating system, and I don't know how accurate this is. There are some things that I really disagree with. So I took a snapshot of the low end and the high end. This is the low end of so you're telling me that a roasted turkey is the same as cigarettes, in an empty water bottle, and that an empty water bottle is the same as a bottle with gasoline, so some of that stuff I'm like, I don't know. So this
Right.
is so that stuff is the low end, and then if we look at the high end, we got repair kits, steel bars, air filters, military backpack. What I thought was interesting was that the military backpack is on here, but the tactical backpack is not. And then all the way down. So a C4 is worth 2,000 points,
Oof.
but an electronic circuit says greater than 10,000 points. Now, I will trade an electronic circuit for 5 C4 any day of the week.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. So if this is true, if these numbers are accurate, you can kind of see where some things are busted. If you have a bunch of electronic circuits, you can just literally use those every time. I use bauxite or bauxite, if you want me to pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, bauxite.
I use that, and I also use and then snowballs, because those are like freaking
The Holy Grail.
yeah, right. Those raiders love some snowballs, man. I tell you what.
Oh yeah.
So just wanted to show that real quick. For my test though, I'm just gonna take a bunch of stuff that's expensive, and then come back with it and just kind of test and see what they want.
For science.
Yeah, for science, absolutely. If it's a raid that I'm not gonna do, I might as well do it for science,
Yeah, of course.
And for the people in the Twitch right now, if you want to see all of that information that I just showed those screenshots from, that is a link to the wiki where it talks about the rating system. So feel free to click on that link and check it out. Okay. Moving on to the next question. This ought to be a fun one. You guys feel free to answer this one in the chat as well. What raider tasks do you think should be removed or maybe added? Like, what are some new ones?
Oh.
Yeah. You got any good ones?
As far as being removed, I feel like the 2 engines should be removed, because you're not, it's pretty high. It's not a high chance. Let's put it that. It's a pretty low chance to find an engine part.
Yeah.
Like the engine. My bad.
Yeah. So I 100%. If anything, make it one. Make it one engine.
Yeah. One's doable.
Yeah, because I feel like even one engine, like to get one, you have a lower chance than finding Timmy the Bloat, who, by the way, is the most elusive mob in the game. When you get him for a raider task, he's just like, nope, he does not spawn. 52 Mike sometimes, Alpha Wolf, sure, but Timmy the Bloat, when you get him for a raider task, he's just non-existent. He gets deleted from the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my so that's I agree with you on that.
But here's the thing, it's funny because when you don't need the engines, when you don't need to find Deadface, Timmy the Bloat, Colonel,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
Oh yeah, 3 for 3. Dude, you would think the Colonel has a freaking crush on me. Every time I go to the red forest zone, he's there every time. Every
Oh yeah.
time. And then the second I get him for a raider task, he's like, "Nah, bro." Mm-mm.
Yeah, not today, B.
Right? So, I don't know. Maybe that's just my crap luck, but that's yeah, I'm with you on
I
that.
I think that happens to everybody because it even happened on stream last time. I had to go kill Timmy the Bloat. And like, I remember it even happened with the basements. Last season, when you had to find the
Oh,
basements, I
yeah.
literally went looking for them, didn't find them. After I completed it, I went to the zone to farm, and what do you know? Basement. I
Basement.
left to the other zone. What do you know? Basement.
Basement.
I went back to the other zone. What do you know? Another basement.
Basement. That's yeah. I don't know. The RNG in this game freaking kills. The RNG kills me so much. I'm like, maybe it's not RNG. Maybe they actually did make this game to where it's supposed to make you angry.
Oh yeah, maybe.
All right. Let's see. What are mine? So yeah, so I'm with you on the engines. One thing that I would like to see added would be something with fishing. You know, like
Yeah.
go catch 3 fish, you know. It's not like that's not something that's ridiculous, but yeah, you know, I would like, you know, I would I don't know. That's just me.
Oh
Um
yeah, or even the chopper event. Get at
oh,
least
yeah,
one
right?
chopper event a day.
Yeah.
Minimum, because I mean, like the dealer one, I mean it do it 3 times in one day, but you know you're kind of like 3 times in one day, that's probably gonna take maybe the whole day, and if you're unlucky, that'll take maybe 2 days.
Yeah. And then so I see what some people are saying in the chat, and this was actually something else that I had wrote down. Things like make 3 deals with the dealer or visit like the 5 airdrops, things like that. Where
Yeah.
if you don't time it out correctly, then you have to wait until the next day to get those. Um, so with deals with the dealer, and even in raising 3 puppies, I would like to see make 3 deals, drop that down to 1.
Yeah.
Raise 3 puppies. I could see it being 2, but dropping that down to 1 would also would be good. You can the thing with the puppies and why I'm kind of okay with it is that you can just keep feeding your puppies all the time and have them to the point to where they're ready to be raised. And then when you get that raider task, then you just raise 3 and then, you know, keep feeding some more and get them to the point to where they're ready. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with the puppies, but but the others like the supply drops, because you get 5 a day if you do your energy correctly.
Yeah.
So if you miss one, or if it's after you already got the one, then you're just kind of screwed on that one until the next day. Same with deals
Seriously.
with the dealers. So yeah, so bump
Don't
those
forget
guys
about
down.
don't forget about the one where you have to find the puppies.
Oh, find the puppies. Yeah, because that one. So I mean, so where all even can you find puppies besides the farm? Because you get 1, 2 if you're lucky at the farm,
Mm-hmm.
at airdrops. But like, what are again? You only get 5 of those a day if you do
Yeah.
it right. And what are the odds that you even get one?
Exactly.
And then the
Um,
floppy disk.
floppy disk and occasionally in red zones.
Oh, oh, I did get one in a red zone. Yeah.
I know from the northern zones, from the northern red zone, if you're lucky, you'll get a husky.
Oh
But in the
man.
other zones, you'll get a shepherd.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. So yeah, so finding 3 puppies, that one is so RNG. It's so like because you could get it like boom, boom, boom. You go to the farm, you get lucky. There's 2, and then you get a floppy disk. There's 3, but I mean, it's work that you really gotta be ready for on that. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
All right. What else? So speaking of, so we're talking about raider tasks. Um, do you skip any raider tasks So do you use coins to skip raider tests, and if so, which ones do you do that on?
Probably. I mean, if it's because I stream late at night because I usually work in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. I mean, recently I haven't had any work, but yeah. I try to stream as early as possible, but by then, if I haven't completed the 5 airdrops, the 3 deals with a dealer,
Mm-hmm.
the puppies, or if I've already completed Bunker Alpha and then I have to complete it again, a certain floor or the blind one, I
Oh
tend
yeah,
to the main one I tend to skip is the blind one because I get that one a lot.
yeah,
I get that one a lot. I rarely get clear floor 2 or clear floor 3.
yeah. So my problem with the blind one is if I have a fresh bunker and I haven't done any of it on the easy mode, and then I get the raider test, kill the blind one. I'm like, well, I don't want to waste an entire bunker just so I can, so I can get that one part of the raider test. So if I have a fresh bunker, I'm not gonna skip all that to kill the blind one. So
Yeah,
I will skip that. I typically will skip engines,
yeah,
and then depending on where I'm at, if I can make one deal with the dealer and then skip the other two, I do that. So it's less coins to use, and kind of the same with puppies. If I can raise one and then skip the other two, I'll do that as well. Also,
yeah.
another thing that I do, if you ever get the three where you have to recycle 3 guns,
Oh,
it's less coins to skip the wait time on recycling the guns than it is to skip the tasks. So you
yeah.
might as well skip the waiting time on the 3 guns. Then you're actually getting something from it, and then you put something else back in your recycler versus just skipping the task, and then you get nothing out of that for those coins.
Yeah, pretty much. See, I didn't know that. Well, I didn't really pay attention to that before until like they started telling me in the chat, like, "Yo, you can just skip the guns and it's faster, right?" And
Yeah,
then I thought about it, I'm like, "Oh, well, geez, there goes coins out the window."
yeah. Yeah, so that's something I was like, wait, it's like what, like I don't know, but it's like 100 coins to skip the task, and I was like, well, let me go see, and I was like, oh yeah, it's only like 20 coins to do this, so I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, anything else on that? I don't have anything else on tasks that should be added or removed, um, or the skippable ones. That's where we were. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about. So this one came up, and there was actually a big debate. So what I think happened was somebody posted what something that they thought
Mm,
in the community Discord. It was like an
right.
idea they had, but they didn't say this is my idea. This is
Okay.
something that's in the game. And they said so what people are saying now is that the chopper garage does not count as walls for like if you're being raided, and everybody's like, oh my god, and so people start building up new walls and this and that, and even people, so even Manders sent me screenshots of where they broke down like a part of a wall that was next to that was next to the garage, and they're like,
Right.
see they're coming in through the garage, and my thing is, and again, so this is just me. So let me. I'm gonna post this up. I took a screenshot of my base. So this is with the roof open, so you can see where I don't have walls. So along there's a section of my base that does not have any walls, but it is being blocked by my chopper garage.
Right.
So inside of this section, there are one, two, three, four, five chests and a weapons rack. So if raiders, so if you're telling me that raiders don't, or they're not able to, or that the garage disappears, then why would I not be why would they not be breaking those boxes open? Is my question, because I have bait chests set up. I put stuff in the old truck, and I have a section that's easy to get into that has one box that has some busted guns and stuff that they take every time. So I make sure that I'm getting my revenge raids. So why are they doing that, but they're not taking those boxes? So I think that theory is wrong. I think they do see that as a part of the base that they can't get into, which is why they break those walls to see what's behind it. If you do build walls around your garage, I think they're like, oh, well, let me see what's behind this wall. Then they break it down. And they're like, oh, it's a garage. That's my theory. Have you heard this rumor, and what do you think about it?
Yes, I actually have heard the rumor, and I mean, to be completely honest with you, I can't remember the last time I was actually raided where my garage sits.
Yeah, and do you have a wall there or no?
Yeah, I have full stone walls right there, and I've never actually I've had those specific walls of where I think it's a 4x4 garage. I've never had those four walls broken through. I've had always either the door that's on the other side or the wall onto further above it.
Yeah, I'm the exact, like, they come in what looks like the same spot in my base all the time. So I put my ATV there. So they use the C4 and they're like, oh hey, now we can't go anywhere. So that's So I don't know exactly what the AI is programmed to do. My thought is that they have like a set number of walls that they break down. And they typically will take the easiest path. So if all they can break down are stone walls, then they're going to just break down stone walls. But if you have it to where you break down stone walls and then there's like tier 1 or tier 2 walls that they can break down, then they break those down as well. And then at the end of all of that, any chests that are open to them, they get into. So that's my theory. I don't know, because we can assume that because it's AI that they're not like trying to kite the big one around your base and things like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's funny though that you do see dead zombies when you get raided.
Oh yeah, huh?
So so it's like, so what's the point? Like, is that just like for show? So you can, like as proof, like, look, you got raided and here's the zombies that they killed. I don't know what the point of that is really. But so anyways, regardless, I don't think it's, I think that rumor was just somebody like had this idea and they were like, hey guys, just so you know, this is a thing. Because it's something that they thought without any real proof that it was a thing, and it's not, and it's not, at least to me. Like, I have not seen any proof, because even people that build walls around their garage, like a tier 1 or a tier 2 wall, they're like, see, look, they broke this wall down. Why would they break this wall down if it was? Because they don't know what's on the other side of that wall, because they see your garage as like a steel room, basically. Again, I don't have any proof behind that, but I haven't seen enough proof otherwise. Because, again, if my garage disappears when I get raided by AI, all of those boxes and that gun rack would be busted down every time. And since I started raiding and I got up to 4 skulls, I've pretty much, this has been my base design for a long time, having these boxes protected by the garage.
Right.
So again, so that is my proof on why, or that is my reasoning behind why I don't feel that is true. And unless somebody convinces me, otherwise, I'm gonna continue to believe that. So so that's so I don't know, and I assume people, I know Manders and there were some other people that felt the same. And if anybody in the chat wants to speak up, or maybe put a question or a comment into the podcast chat that we are just about to look into, to see if we have any questions from our from the podcast today. So let's see. Okay. Yep. Oh wow, we got a lot of stuff up in here. So Siava posted 3 questions. The first of which says, "What do you think about cost for loot? Should it be revealed for clear? Show points for where each item. Why mods cost so much?" So about that. So let me show. So there is this thing on the wiki. I'm not sure how accurate this is, because so keep in mind that the wiki, at least to my knowledge, the wiki is just it's like a fan site for Last Day on Earth.
Right.
So I don't think that actual developers came in and put these numbers into the wiki. I think these are estimates for the most part. I agree with where some of this stuff is. I'm not sure where exactly they got these numbers from. So we do have this. I would so much appreciate it if they if a developer or the team would reveal an official list, because I think that would be really interesting to check out.
Right. Yeah, it'd be pretty nice to know. It would be nice to know.
All right. Second question from Siava: What's the point after which newbie can or should go to a raid? Oh, geez, Sniperace, what do you think about that one?
Honestly, whenever somebody asks me that same question on stream, I try to tell them to not keep away from raiding at least until you have level 3 walls.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, honestly, even with level 3 walls, you're gonna get broken into. It's inevitable.
Yeah. And the reason behind that, I think, is because the level 3 walls isn't so much to protect you from the raiders as it is so much to protect you from the horde. Because when the horde comes, if you don't have level 3 walls, they're just going to wipe out everything you got. And then if you get raided, then your entire base is exposed. So you have to keep that in mind. So I say, 100%. Put up a layer of stone walls around everything, and then depending on how your base is designed, maybe you want to do some honeycomb stuff. Maybe you want to have like some bait areas. So if you're new, then that's what I would say. Stone walls around everything, and then some type of honeycomb system inside of that. And then a bait, like maybe 1 or 2 bait chests.
Yep.
And then once you start getting to the point, well, this goes away from the newbie part, but once you start getting some steel around the inside of your base, then you can start getting rid of some of that honeycomb, so your base isn't so annoying to maneuver around.
Yeah.
All right, and then part 3 from Siava: as long as all bases are presetted, should it be shown in a clear way how other people takes the best loot, or light the most often taken stuff? Well, I think so. You have YouTube. There's a bunch of people that put out YouTube content. Manders, myself, Lady Rays, so a lot of people put out maybe what they think is the best loot for you to take, but that doesn't. But especially if you get a huge resource raid, maybe I need pine planks, and then Sniperace needs iron bars. So if I'm focused on one thing, that doesn't mean. Just because it's the best for me doesn't mean it's going to be the best for you, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and then on the flip side of that, there are bases where it's like, here's the med kits, here's the guns, here's the SWAT armor. So on that regard, sure, like that's probably what people are going to be more often to take, and that's what you're going to find on the YouTube videos for the most part.
Yep.
All
Because I
right.
mean,
Oh yeah, go
it's
ahead.
good to know because a lot of people actually show you like the best stuff overall. So you can pretty much judge, okay, I'll skip this chest because it doesn't have what I want, and I'll open this chest. That way I have time or noise level to open up a different chest that they probably didn't show, or another chest that you're more interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so next question. Jimmy RB asks, do you think the harder the test, the better the raid should be? I think it should. I think it should scale. I think all of that should scale with reputation. When you're new and you don't have any rep, yeah, you should get easy tasks, and you should have. I don't want to say crappy bases, but easier bases to get into. And
Yeah.
then as you scale, yeah, you get harder tasks, you get better bases as your reputation goes up. I don't know, Sniperace, what do you think?
Because I mean, like I said at the beginning, like that's how it was at first. When you're
Yeah.
upgrading your reputation, you get better bases, and you start to see that difference. But when you're starting off, I mean, after you've maxed it out, then it's just completely at random. You can have super hard task and a crappy base,
Mm-hmm.
like a 5 by 5 stone room. Use a C4 and only get 2 chests.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it would be great if they continued how how you progress from the raider task. Like if they get harder, you get better stuff. If it's easier, then you get a lower base.
Yeah, exactly. All right. All right. I'll let you take this one, Sniper Ace. Namanjalan97 asks, how much iron hatchet should I bring on average?
Huh? Iron hatchets. I mean, mainly I try to bring at least 3 iron hatchets, just in case that'll get you through 3 walls.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring 5 stone hatchets because, well, mostly because you usually, if you're researching the base, then you know what to bring. But I try to waste as little iron hatchets as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you can still, even if you have to break like maybe 2 walls, you still have 1 iron hatchet left, just in case 5 stone hatchets is not enough. If it's a base with like 20 something chests.
Yeah. And another thing to keep in mind is that um, iron hatchets, when you break a box, iron hatchets makes, I think, one less noise than a stone hatchet.
Yep.
So that's another thing to keep in mind if you're trying to get the most out of a base, and you're like, all right, I'm using the fish buff and I'm using this and that, and everything is like every single noise is gonna matter here. Like, oh man, what was the one that I got where there was, you had to use, I think, 3 C4, and then there's 4 turrets behind the last thing of C4. I was like,
Uh,
crap, man, like every single piece of noise is going to matter here. Because there
yep.
were quite a few boxes that I wanted to get into. That one, it had 3 scuba masks in it, and I'm like, man, yeah, we
Ooh,
gotta. This is 100%. It was 3 scuba masks, a bunch of guns, some steel. I was like, yeah, like there's this. We're doing this
this
one.
is the one.
Yeah, like this is a 3 C4 base for sure. Um, so yeah, so I typically research ahead of time how many iron hatchets do I need. So if I need 4 to break down walls, then yeah, I'm at least gonna bring 4. And then if I'm
Yep.
if I'm cautious about noise, then I'll use iron hatchets over stone hatchets. But typically, if 2 or 3 noise isn't gonna make or break the raid, then I'm like, I'll just take stone.
Yeah.
All right. Choza asks how to know what to pay the Raiders.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Choza. Um, it's kind of up in the air. Typically, like generally speaking, the better the raid, the more that you have to give to them. And it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to have some things like bauxite or even like aluminum wires, stuff that has high value that you
Yep.
don't utilize a lot. So have that stuff to give to the raiders, and just kind of like play with it. Give them one bauxite, and if they're like seems true, then cool. Then you're done. Sometimes you got to give them like 3, 4, 5, depending on the raid. That's generally speaking. Exactly
Yeah.
what to give them. That was something that we were talking about earlier that is kind of up in the air.
Yep. It's completely random. It's not, something that you can automatically know because, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it depends on what you take and how big of a raid it is.
Mm-hmm. And so I think, well, I don't want to say the conclusion, but the assumption is that there's some set threshold that's a minimum of when you come back from this raid, you have to give us at least this, and
Yeah.
then the more or the better stuff that you bring back with you, I think adds more that you have to give them on top of that. That is my assumption based on the research that I've done. So there you go.
That's true.
Let's see. And then Kanye asks, Ace mentioned hoarding. Do you often run out of storage space? Maxed out your storage space is 40. And then 2 turrets in a base, yay or nay. So starting with so do you often run out of storage space, and do you have your boxes maxed out at 40?
I actually do. Well, I think I counted them last night on stream. I think I have about 24, 22 racks.
Oh, snap.
And and like I said, I hoard just about everything.
Right?
So it kind of works out in the end because I've managed to hoard enough materials to make steel to continue upgrading my even more racks because the max you can have, like you said, is 40.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, I haven't really run into the issue of running out of space. I've had the issue of getting too much of a certain item.
Hmm. And
Like
then,
right now,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask, like, what, like, just one item in general, or like specifically one item that you're like, crap, I have too much of this.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the what I have right now, the most of I think is stone, like to upgrade to level 3 walls. I have a whole rack of stone, and then I
Mm-hmm.
started filling up my limestone chest with extra stone,
Oh,
and
wow, nice.
it's literally like a whole rack of stone.
Yeah, that was kind of
And
when Fort Moss was a thing, and then
oof.
after, because that was like that required a lot of stone, and then when we found
Oh
out that
yeah.
we can tear the base down afterwards, I had way too much of the stone bricks. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm just gonna have a rack of this now.
Yeah. Like I sent a picture of my actual base and my design on your LDOE base designs
Oh
if
yeah.
anybody wants to check it out. I feel like I have set it up perfectly to where my best stuff is heavily secured, and then my average stuff that I'm okay with farming later on is like in the main area where if it gets raided then it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty much in the same boat as you, Sniperace. I do have 40 boxes. I don't know exactly how many racks I have off the top of my head. 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I have maybe 12 racks, and the rest are at least chests. I don't have. Oh, not true. I have one small box that is my bait chest. Um,
Right.
but other than that, everything is at least, with the exception of maybe like one or two things, trunks, uh, and then everything else is racks.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I'm missing like four of them to make them actual trunks.
Nice. Uh, and do I often run out of storage space? I mean, not really. I try to. I say try to because it doesn't always happen. I try to
Right.
organize because like when I do a raid, like I typically like I'll come back and then I'll dump stuff. Like I have a couple of chests or trunks that are specifically throw just everything in here and then organize it later. Because I
Right.
don't really like organizing on stream that much unless I'm like, okay, I know exactly where this thing needs to go. Let me go put this up. Um, but I don't like to go through and organize everything after a raid. So I just dump it and everything. So when I do that, yeah, I kind of run out of storage space. But when I have everything organized and I'm cycling like my resources and putting stuff uh like making sure I'm recycling stuff I want to recycle, make sure that I'm making steel
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I'm okay. I'm okay there. Um, and then the last part of Kanye's question is turrets in base, yay or nay? I the only reason that I have what I have now, which is the designs, like the blueprints for the turrets, is because
Right.
I got four of those in a raid, and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't have
Oh
these.
wow.
Let me take four of them. So I haven't built them out yet, but I don't have a use for turrets in my base. I guess they help if you have to fight the raiders, but so for me, no, but I don't know. What do you what's I you probably know more about this than I do, Sniperace.
I mean, honestly, I have three turrets. I think they're level 2, maybe they're level 3
Mm-hmm.
each. Um, and honestly, they're not really useful
Yeah, right. Like I
because you can put a whole 20 gas in it and it'll last for like a day, but you're not guaranteed to get rated in that 1 day window.
and even when you do get raided, don't you? At least for me, don't you want them to take something?
Yeah,
Because if they don't take anything, then you don't get a revenge raid, right?
pretty much.
So then I don't think that I have any reason why I would ever want to build out those turrets. At least not yet.
I mean, like you said, it maybe to fight the raiders. I
Yeah.
mean, even if you're just defending against the horde, like, do you really need to defend against the horde?
Yeah, right? Because by the time you're at a point, at least in my thoughts, by the time you're at the point to where you're able to build out turrets, you should have stone walls already built up around your base, and then you
Yeah,
don't need to defend against the horde. They just walk into the stone walls and they're like, and they die.
basically.
So again, like so Kanye, I say nay if your question is yes or no on to have turrets in the base. I say no. I
And
don't have a use for them.
yeah, same.
All right. Presumably the last question right now that we have in the Discord is I heard there is somewhere exists. All right. Let me just fill in the gap grammatically here. I heard there is somewhere a Discord server with more bases than YouTube. Do you know the invite there? Is there specifically a
I
something like
just
some like a
the
Discord that
last day on Earth Discord.
is that where it is?
Yeah, it's
Let's
it's
say
a channel that's open to anybody and everybody. It's called Raiders Central.
dun, dun,
I
dun.
mean,
All
they
right, let's
basically
pull it up
mainly
quick.
just show like what kind of items they got from a base. Some of them actually show picture design of the base and where they broke into, and others just show the loot that you get and what you need. Like the loot, is it good? Is it bad? The name,
Oh, there it is.
what you use. So it's the official Last Day on Earth Discord. It's available to anybody and everybody.
Yeah, it's under pics only, no chat.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then you can do a search in there as well, and it
Yeah.
tells you. Oh yeah, some people. Yeah, so it's all community input. Um,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Huh, I like it. I've actually never used that. I saw the channel, but I never really knew what it was.
No, yeah, it's extremely useful. If like I said, if you don't find them on YouTube, if the certain base, like if it's like either a no name or like Russian letter, Russian characters, you just go in the search bar, type in what you think it is, and you'll find
Yeah, there you go.
it.
All right, let's jump back and see if we have any more questions. Looks like we have. All right, so one just came in. If raiding is so clearly popular, why hasn't Kefir updated the bases and got rid of hacker bases since they were introduced? So Sniperace, you can probably elaborate on this more than I can, but because I'm relatively new. But so I know that they did update because you used to be able to get like tons of red tickets and like maybe even floppy disks and stuff like that
Yeah.
from. So they updated that. But honestly, I had that same question when I rated like a, and I mean, and I'm talking like as big as my base is, just
Right.
one wall of just C4, and then so you pop in the C4, and there's nothing but three small chests, and then maybe like one of each, like workbench, like stone workbench, woodworking bench, things like that. And then there's a steel room in there as well. So I had those same questions. Like why? Like this is so clearly a base that somebody is using a modded version of the
Mm-hmm.
game to that made this base. Because
Yeah.
there's no way you can do all of this stuff with three small boxes. Like why would you even want to? You know?
Basically.
And so why not, you have to know, you have to see that is a base that people are able to raid, and it's in the rotation. So I see your question. I see your question, Mojo. um I maybe Sniperace can tell you something that I can't, because I don't know what to tell you.
Uh, honestly, I mean, I haven't asked the question myself, but I've had seen them say before that it's something that they will get to, because right now, I think their biggest priority is mainly going into the season 5 and season, because I mean, I'm pretty sure right now they're probably already working on season 6.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like, and they're also working on Sector 7 update, because they did promise us in the old roadmap that they were going to implement something for Sector 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's a priority list of what they're trying to get done. And I would hope that they have rating on there, because it has been a while. I know that if you do run into a hacker base, or a base that's nothing but, it's literally a 5x5 or a 6x6 of just steel that you can't break into,
Mm-hmm.
then you get the name, and you just pretty much report it to the developers and be like, hey, this is an unrateable base, and they will make sure they remove that specific base.
Mm-hmm. Then they should give you
Because
all of the loot that's in that base
right.
as a reward, as a thank you for reporting
That'd be
it.
nice.
Yeah.
Because
And
honestly, I have seen a lot less steel room bases.
mm-hmm.
Like before, you would see them like I would have like 2, 3 in like 1 week of nothing but steel. Like it was unrateable. All you got was what was in the pickup truck, and that was it.
Yeah. Or maybe there's a garden bed, so in case you're hungry, you can get some carrots.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, you brought up a really good point. So you do have to keep in mind that Kefir does have a limited number of development resources, and
Mm-hmm.
and I agree with that. Their focus right now is providing new content and fixing exploits, like when the grenade thing, when you could just grenade down what's his name, the the screamer boss in Bravo.
Oh, Dr. Dread.
Yeah, Dr. Dread. So when that was a thing, and somebody reported it because that was game
Mm-hmm.
breaking. And so they were like
Yeah.
immediately like, nope, this isn't a thing anymore. So they do have a limited number of development resources, and their focus right now is providing new content. Because something like big things are coming. They're not going to, because right now, if you think about it, and because people have criticized, Kefir about this, they're like, okay, so now I have to do Bravo Bunker so I can get this stuff, so I can build my ATV, so I can go to a swamp and just collect new resources, and then what?
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, like, that's right now all the ATV is getting you to a new zone so you can collect new resources.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess those resources you can upgrade your racks and things like that. But ultimately, like, the ATV itself doesn't really unlock a lot of new content. And you have, like, as a company, you're not going to just introduce this thing and just have that, like, that's, like, this is all you get. Like, I have an ATV. You mean to tell me that all I can do now is go to a freaking swamp? No. Something else is coming. It's just coming, a limited amount of resources that they have to put this stuff out. And Manders wants the ATV to get corn. So there's that as well, I guess.
Yeah. No, honestly, I mean, now that you mention it, I feel like, I mean, I don't think they would throw the creator on the other side where you can get to it with the ATV, because then that would limit a big portion, probably more than 90% of the population of Last Day on Earth.
Yeah.
That would cripple them, because then they would have to actually grind hardcore for the ATV. So, I mean, that's for a whole different topic. But yeah, the ATV is something that it's implemented. It's new content, yes, but they're not going to stop there. They're going to throw more stuff at you. It's just, it takes time, because you have to remember, I mean, I don't know if they've gotten more, the developers on board, but it's still not as big of a company as you would expect it to be, like other mobile games. Like, example, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, they're huge. They have a huge development team. And as opposed to Kefir, I mean, it might be maybe, I'm not sure, maybe in a ballpark of 40, 50 people working on a game. And then from those, you have them split up into the drawer, the artist, the actual game mechanics, the programmers, and I can't remember anything else off the top of my head. I'm not a game developer. I'm sorry. But like, you have to split up, so it's not as big as you would expect. Like, that's why if you put money into the game, that helps them expand their resources in a sense, to where they will get content out faster. Because I don't know if you remember, well, I don't know if you were in the game beforehand, like when it first came out, but like Android would get the update, and then iOS would get it like 3-4 days later, or maybe almost a week later.
Oh, that's because Android's just better,
Right. And then now it's to the point where they're coming out at the same time. So like they've grown. Like the updates, they're coming out a lot faster. They're coming out at the same time now, because that was a big issue back then.
Yeah.
People would complain like, oh, like it's not fair. Android gets it beforehand and iOS has to wait like 4 or 5 days. And I mean, they've explained it, but like, still people, they probably either didn't pay attention when they said, or they just didn't care. But they would say that it's because the iOS store has to approve the update.
True, yeah, that is true.
So that's why it takes a little longer for iOS sometimes. But now they've gotten to the point where they're producing the updates at the same time for both devices.
Yeah, and something that you mentioned that I think is underappreciated, and you didn't mention it, you just kind of glossed over it, but this is a mobile game. This is a game you play on your phone, on your tablet. This isn't a console game or anything like that. So. Yeah. So what they're doing and how, I mean, like, just everything with the physics to the game, the animations, the art, graphics, and then like the concept and the gameplay. Besides that, like it's a mobile game, and it's fantastic how much detail there is to it. So if you want to pick apart a game because like it's got some bugs or glitches because it's a console game, that's fine. This is a mobile game. Yeah. Like there's like you can't just create a mobile game like this and and have it just, just work, it's fine without any bugs, without, like, you got to think the processors that are running these, you're not playing it on a computer, on a console, it's the processors that you use on your phone, so it's not, so you got to keep in mind that they have a limited scope that they have to work in as well.
Basically.
So yeah, so they're crushing it with this, and to go back to the original question, I agree. I hope that a rating update would be coming soon, but I understand why it's not a priority right now.
Mm-hmm. Or at least like they gave us another road, because I mean some partners actually asked for a roadmap, and they haven't really as far as I remember, they said they will work on getting us one so they can post it, but as of right now they don't actually have a roadmap.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was that, because I saw people ask for a roadmap for after season 5, and basically they were just like, no. I was like, oh, but maybe, but it was probably that that the devs just don't have one.
Yeah, they don't have one yet, and hopefully, I mean, we get to see one within the next few months.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it would be nice to see like where the game is headed and when can we expect certain updates. Because I mean, at the same time, I feel like they don't want to throw it out too soon, the roadmap too soon, in case they get backed up because of a delay or a bug, a game-breaking bug, and stuff like that.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on. All right, so this one looks like the last question so far, unless we get some more questions while we're answering this one. From Kanye, another question from Kanye: floppy disk versus RAID. So I think the question is, which one is better, a floppy or a RAID? I mean, depends on the floppy and depends on the RAID, because
basically
somebody ticked me off like last night or this morning, because yesterday I did a floppy, one Glock. No other guns, one Glock. And I'm like, this is a joke. Like, what is this? And then somebody posted in my Last Day on Earth chat that they got like a SCAR, an AK, a grenade launcher, and I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding. Like, you get all that and I get a freaking Glock. Like, what kind of crap is that? So,
I mean,
not all floppy disks are created equal, just like not all raids. Because you can get a raid with one box, or you can get a raid and come back with all of that stuff and more. Like the scars, the VSS, steel. So it's a coin flip on both. Honestly, it's hard to say which one is better, because they intertwine
pretty much.
at the end of the day, I would say the worst floppy is better than the worst raid, but the best raid is better than the best floppy.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So, all right, looks like that was a good question to end on. I think it doesn't look like we got anything else in the chat. So Sniperace, thank you so much for jumping in. This was kind of last minute. I say kinda. It was like a 1 hour warning. Like, hey, want to be on the podcast? Which has started to become the theme here. Mad Max on the last episode, kind of came in at the last, like literally like 30 minutes before.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for making yourself available, coming in. We appreciate you so much, and it was great to have you on.
It's all good, man. Thanks for having me on here.
All right. So for everybody else, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Make sure that if you're not already following Sniperace's channel on Twitch, make sure that you do that. Sniperace _ on Twitch. See if we can give him a quick shout out. Shout out at Sniperace. Boom, there it is. So make sure you guys follow him if you're not already doing so. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll catch you guys next time.